Hey guys, I am Misty Klein and I have had a lot of questions about the hot chocolate, hot cocoa bombs. So I wanted to do a video about how I have made these. I have watched a variety of YouTube videos about these and was pretty kind of just interested in doing these for friends and family and have had lots of people ask questions. So the first thing that you want to do is gather all of your supplies. So, left one thing over here. All right, so these are the supplies. I ordered these silicone spheres, silicone sphere molds from Amazon. And so they are super, super thin. And at first when I got these, I thought this is not gonna work very well, but actually it does. And I'm gonna show you how that works. I always make sure that when I'm using this, that I have a cookie sheet, okay? Because you'll want to put your spheres, your empty ones, on a cookie sheet to give it a little bit more stability. So, the first thing that it's important to do is to have all your ingredients together. So today, I'm going to be making green bombs with the Grinch. So for the Grinch. So I'm gonna be, let me rotate you just a little bit there. Okay, all right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the bright white candy melts. I bought two different kinds of candy melts. This is the kind from Hobby Lobby. It's by Make and Mold. And I also have the kind from Aldi called Baker's Corner. The Baker's Corner ones are 100% peanut free. And so these from Hobby Lobby do contain milk and soy. They may contain a trace amount of peanuts because of the processing equipment. So that's super important when you're looking at who are these for. So I'm gonna take these and just dump them into my silicone container. This actually is a Pampered Chef item and I love this because I really can do a good job with squishing the bottom when I'm melting these. You can melt these two different ways. You can do it over a double boiler and just slowly melt them. I just melt them in the microwave. When using the microwave though, it's super important to remember that you wanna go low and slow. So 30 seconds on 50%. Take it out, stir it, 30 seconds for 50% power. Take it out, stir it. So that's what we're gonna do right now. All right. Okay, so when you have melted these for about 4 different rounds of 30 seconds at 50%, you will notice that they start to melt. And you probably don't want to put it back in the microwave when it starts to look like this with little clumps in it. What you want to do is you just want to take it and stir it because that's going to heat up those clumps enough usually to get them to melt evenly. If you do decide to heat it up, do it very, very carefully because once it starts to heat up, it is very quick to burn. So I'm just going to keep giving this a few good stirs to see if I can get these clumps to melt. Now, since I told you I was going to do green, okay, I do have my green food coloring out and I bought the lime color, the Sunny Side Up Bakery Squeeze Gel color in the lime color. So I'm going to start off, of course, very carefully with just one drop or one little squeeze. Helps if you take the this little piece off. And shake it up really, really good. And then I'm just gonna put in a tiny bit. So So 1 drop of the gel food coloring, and we're gonna keep mixing, and we're going to see what color green we come up with. Okay, there we go. So I would like it to be just a little bit more green because it's going to be Grinch green. So I'm going to add 1 more little drop of the gel coloring. All right. So that is looking quite like a very pretty green for the Grinch hot cocoa bombs. Okay, so now I'm going to move this over here. If you'll notice, most of the lumps I had in there are now gone. So I'm going to just put 1 spoonful in each cup. Now, different brands will melt at different, or will start to harden at different times. So you want to kind of just go ahead and start swirling it around, all around the cup, okay? You're going to try to get all the edges. This is important, and I'll show you why in just a second. And then go ahead and get the bottom. If you have a little spot on the bottom that needs a little bit more, you may have to use just a bit more. Kind of cover up all your holes. So that one looks actually pretty good. If you guys can see, most of the holes are covered, and it's pretty much to the top. So I'm going to take just a little bit more, put it in this cup, okay? And then I'm just going to pull my spoon up to sort of smooth the edges. You want to get all the way to the top. That's important. If you don't get to the top or you have holes in it when it's finished, I'll show you how to resolve those as well. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I have all of the edges. Like I said, you want to be really careful. This particular brand, the Make and Mold from Hobby Lobby, is actually not too bad to melt, to harden quickly. The ones from Aldi's actually harden a little bit faster. Okay, so you don't have as much work time with those. But the benefits of those is that they're not made in a facility that processes peanuts. So, all right, so if you'll notice, I have a little tiny hole right here. Can you see it? So I'm just going to take a little bit from the edge, and I'm going to push it up there and let it fall into the hole. And I'm going to also inspect the edges really well because I want it to be pretty much a solid edge. And even if you need to scrape your spoon a little bit along the sides, that's fine as well too. I have used a pastry brush to help pull it up on the sides, but I think the spoon works just fine. All right. Maybe should have added a little bit more green. They're not quite as Grinch green as I would like, but I didn't want them to turn out to be Christmas tree green either, so you have to sort of play around with your colors a little bit as well. All right, so with these, what I am essentially making right now is 3 bombs, okay? 3 hot chocolate bombs. Now, you can do a variety of colors. You can do dark and white chocolate, you can do milk chocolate, you can do pretty much whatever colors you want to do, depending on what your occasion is. I'm gonna do these 3 Grinch bombs, and we're gonna see how they go. But, there we go. So now I'm gonna take a minute. I've got a little bit extra left, so I'm gonna inspect the insides of the cups really well, just to make sure that I have a good clean line across the top, and to make sure I don't have any holes in these. Oh, I see one that is a little bit on the thin side. You guys probably can't see it. There's a little thinness on the inside. That's another benefit of having a red mold, is that you actually can see the colors. You can see some of the thinness you can see come through. Okay. The insides do not have to look beautiful, okay? Because nobody's gonna see them. All right, so there we go. Now I am ready to put this in either the refrigerator or I can put it in the freezer. You put it in the refrigerator freezer for about 10 minutes and then they're ready to take out. Okay, you guys, so I'm gonna wash my hands really quickly and then we're going to get to popping out the ones that I have that my daughter fixed the other day, and then I'm going to show you how easy they pop out and how to take care of those. So you guys hang tight. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how to remove the molds, the chocolate from the molds. So this is the reason right here, if you guys can see that hole that's in the chocolate, that you want to really watch your chocolate really well to make sure that that it is smooth all the way up and to the edges. So these top two look pretty good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pull this back a little bit and they literally just come right out. Okay, there you go. So I'm gonna put these in my pan and then we're gonna work on assembling. Okay, you wanna treat these with TLC because you don't want to inadvertently break one or accidentally crimp off the side. So you just want to use it very carefully. All right. So a trick to help you with your, if you've got this big hole, is that in a little bit, I'm going to melt some more chocolate and then I'm just going to fill in that hole. And then there's a hole right here. I'm going to fill those in and one right here. And then I'm going to put these back in the refrigerator and let them set up. If you try to just put it back in there, and put it on the counter and leave it, it won't set up quite as quickly. So, all right, so now I'm gonna show you how we're going to assemble these, okay? So you have a bottom and a top, and it doesn't really matter which one you use for which. I like to just look at them, kind of eyeball them. Now you can't hold them very long because they will break and crumble. So I'm gonna use this one as my bottom and this one as my top. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take this plate and I'm gonna heat this plate in the microwave for 30 seconds. Okay, while that's heating in the microwave, I'm gonna take my hot chocolate mix, and right now I'm using Swiss Miss, because it is also safe for people that have nut allergies. And I'm going to put as much hot chocolate in there as I can. And then I'm gonna take a few marshmallows, or a lot of marshmallows, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to put that on top of this chocolate bomb. I'm going to put it actually sitting on top of the hot chocolate powder that you put in the cup. Okay, and I just kind of drop them and then kind of reposition as needed. So I want to have lots of marshmallows pop out when we go to open this. All right, so I'm going to get my warm plate out of the oven, out of the microwave, excuse me. All right. Now I heat it for 30 seconds. It just gets it warm, but not super hot. Okay, so now I'm going to take this very carefully and I'm going to just put it there for literally just a few seconds. Okay, I'm going to swirl it around and you'll notice that it starts to melt the chocolate pretty quickly. Okay, then I'm going to take it and I'm just going to lay it on top of my hot chocolate bomb. Now you will notice that I do have a little bit of an edge. Okay, so I'm going to take my finger and just sort of dab the edges of this. You also can take the little brush and just sort of brush that on. Kind of gives it a good finish. So you can use a pastry brush. This is also a Pampered Chef brush. You notice I have a little piece right there, which is just fine, because here's another cool trick. You can pick up any tiny little pieces, put them on the warm plate, and use them sort of as a help to fill in the holes or the empty spots. Now you don't want to get this too warm, because it'll start to actually melt the chocolate and won't seal it. So, but if you'll notice, that is pretty much all there is to it, okay? And there you go. I'm going to now take this in a few minutes. I'm going to put this back in the freezer for about 5 minutes just to let it set up. Okay. Right now I'm going to show you, this is already kind of hardened again, but how I can take this. I'll use this in just a second. Another trick with making chocolate bombs is if you want to take a little bit of vegetable oil or canola oil and just add it to your chocolate, just a tiny bit, it helps to smooth it out a little bit and make it a little thinner, and it helps to give it a pretty shine. So if your chocolate has some like white dust on it, so you'll notice that when you first pick up your package and you'll look in it and you'll say, oh, this looks kind of dusty. It will leave sort of a dust on the outside, but if you just add a little bit of vegetable oil in with your chocolate once it's warmed, it is going to be thinner and a nice, beautiful shine. So I take my Ziploc bag. Okay. I'm going to take my little bit of chocolate. Okay, there's not much left. Okay. But I'm going to take the little bit that I have left, and I'm going to put as much chocolate in this Ziploc bag as I possibly can. Now, this is a little larger Ziploc bag than probably I needed, but it's okay. It'll work. All right. So now I'm going to take one of the edges, okay, and I'm going to seal this, and then I'm going to move the chocolate, okay. Got a little end here. I'm going to get a pair of scissors as well, and I'm going to trim a very tiny bit of the plastic bag off. Okay, I almost said chocolate bag. The plastic bag off, enough that it's going to allow the air to push down and out. Okay. Hopefully my chocolate will just run down here. I only want a little bit because I'm going to drizzle it over my chocolate. You guys can tell I am not a professional YouTuber. So take all that and just smush it down into the end of the bag, okay? See how you just have a little tiny bit? Now you're going to take that, and then you're going to just give it a quick squeeze and a drizzle, okay? Now, you can do a dot, you can do a drizzle. If it starts to get hard on the end, and this is where the challenge is, y'all, is that it starts to harden up even just a little bit. It's more difficult to squeeze, okay? So I'm just going to do a little circles right here, just because it's getting kind of tough to use, okay? All right, now those are not beautiful, but I'm going to make them a little prettier. Okay. Okay, all right, so let's see. This one I'm going to add a little bit more to it because I've got some left. Okay, all right, now I'm going to take my spoon and just kind of smooth some of that out. Now another trick with this is that once I'm finished putting the drizzle or circles or little blobs, whatever you want to put on them, okay, your work is not quite done yet. So I'm now going to take, how many use these? This little gold edible stars. I bought these because I wanted to try these out. Okay, so these are little tiny gold edible stars, and I'm going to just lay a few on top of the little balls. I probably should have put a little bit more vegetable oil in the green because that would help to thin it out just a little bit, but that's fine. So the people that I'm making this for, you know, aren't going to care. They're going to love it regardless. So, and I'm sure your families will too. Okay, all right, so now I have my gold stars and they are now on my chocolate bombs. So I can kind of push them down in there, you know, however you want to do them, or just let them sit there and they'll kind of just start to stick as your green white chocolate starts to harden. Okay, right now I'm ready to get these packaged up. So I take one chocolate bomb and I just set it in the bottom of a cupcake liner, just like that. And then I'm going to put it in the box that I'm going to use to carry them. So you just want to make sure that you keep these either in the freezer or the refrigerator and not let them get warm. If they begin to get warm, they will start to melt. So just be cautious of that. All right. In a second, I'm going to go check and see how our green Grinch bombs are coming.